Honorable Chief Minister, respected ministers, and members of the audience. I'm very delighted to be standing here today because on this momentous occasion where e-Pragati is being launched, because me and the team from Wipro, we have been involved in this right from the beginning, and as the previous speaker was saying, what you see today is the movie, but the toil and the hard work that the team has put in making this happen over the past 9-10 months is indeed remarkable and indeed praiseworthy. I just came back from, in fact, I landed 2 hours back. I came back from Washington, D.C., delivering a plenary session at the Federal Enterprise Architecture Conference in Washington, D.C. So the whole idea of embracing enterprise architecture in the government sector was actually pioneered and started by some of the developed countries. In fact, some of you may be familiar that the United Nations actually does a 2-year survey every 2 years in terms of how the countries fare in terms of their e-government maturity. And sadly to say, India does not rank very well there because, because of many reasons. I will not go into the reasons per se, but I think the ranking there itself does not do justice to the potential that we have as a country. So therefore, this whole journey of enterprise architecture in terms of taking a whole of government approach and providing services in an integrated manner is indeed remarkable and indeed pioneering. And as Mr. Satyanarayana and Mr. Chandrasekhar have already said many times, that this makes Andhra Pradesh the first state to actually have a statewide enterprise architecture. In fact, there has been, we've been through many of the discussions, including the name, as Mr. Satyanarayana was saying, this is about development, this is about progress, because there was a reason why we did not want to use the technical term enterprise architecture, because many people do not really understand what it means, because what actually matters is what it can do for the state. And what we have seen, we as Wipro have seen over the past 6-7 months, that we have been talking to various members of the industry, professional associations, including the open group that Mr. Satyanarayana was mentioning, is that the whole project, whole initiative of e-Pragati has actually raised the interest in the country, not just among the state, but also the industry, in terms of understanding what enterprise architecture can do. This whole idea of e-Pragati is about services, and the reason why services are important is because this is how governments actually interact with the people. Technology is important, as has been said before, the E part is important, but that by itself is only an enabler in providing good services to the citizens. At the end of the day, the success of this e-Pragati will depend on whether it makes a difference to the quality of life of the people. As we have already used those key principles and the guiding principles about citizen-centric services. That forms the core of enterprise architecture as such. Is technology important? Absolutely. As an enabler, it is absolutely important. We have reached a point where you can almost take technology for granted. We know that it will work, right? It is the services where all of the impact happens, and especially from a citizen-centric perspective. In terms of other countries, I've already mentioned United States. In fact, you would be, amazed to know that there are countries around the world that I have directly worked with, and few other people in my team have also interacted with, where having an enterprise architecture is actually required by law. It is a legal requirement in many countries, right? So today, in terms of doing enterprise architecture for the government sector is not a good to have, it's actually a need to have in many countries. I will not go into the details of how the countries are actually implementing, and there's a strong governance mechanism to make all of these successful. At the end of my speech here, I would really like to congratulate the state again in embarking on this bold vision. I wouldn't even use the word dream; it's actually a vision, digital vision. Because we would definitely like to see this come true over the next 2 years. And I know that we and my team, over the next 2 years, we will probably be working 70, 80 hours a week, to make this happen. Congratulations again, and thank you very much.